Good morning. Today we are going to be making some chicken salad. I actually have to work today, but I don't have to go until 10, so I decided this would be a good time to do it. I got things set up last night by making the chicken. I pounded out some boneless chicken breast, and I actually sauteed them in butter so that they would have an additional flavor to them. Sometimes you can go ahead and just do it as a simmering. That's how my mother-in-law used to do. But I would prefer to give more flavor to the chicken, which will add in return to the salad itself. Now this is my mother-in-law's recipe, and I'm going to give you all the information that you need for what the items are. You're going to need 2 cups of cooked chicken. You're going to need minced onion, which I have that. Now when a recipe refers to minced, that's what it's talking about. Real fine chops. You're going to need salt, macaroni, which I've got to cook that. We need some celery. Now what I like to use for the celery is I pick out the heart of the celery. I pick out the most tender and the crunchiest, and this is what I'm going to use. And for the smallest ones, I'm going to include these delicate leaves. And a good tip for you is to go ahead and clean up your produce before you store it, and then you'll be more likely to use it. We need our grapes, which I like to use the green seedless in those. Now with the grapes, make sure that you're cutting these in half. And be careful when you're giving grapes to children. Make sure you even cut them in a quarter, because giving a child a full grape can be dangerous and can get stuck in their airway, and they can end up having to go to the hospital if you can't get it out. You're going to need a can of the pineapple tidbits, which I have those. And I will be draining those. I won't be using the juice in there. Then we're going to need some cashews, which I have. We're going to need mayonnaise, and I'm going to be making the mayonnaise. I like to, from now on, make mayonnaise. It's a lot cheaper, and I just make enough for what I need for that day. Alright, I've made this in other videos before, but I'm going to go ahead and show you one more time for those who don't know how to make homemade mayonnaise. You're going to use oil. I'm using right now olive oil because we like that. But you can easily use avocado or something else that you prefer. Then you're going to add in lemon juice. We're going to do 1 tablespoon. Then we're going to do a ½ teaspoon of salt. We're going to do 1 teaspoon, and I don't need a measuring. I'm just going to do 1 teaspoon, okay, of mustard. Then to that, we add 1 egg. Now we're going to use the single blender and blend it up. Then we have sour cream, lemon juice. Now the best way to get the most out of your lemon is to roll it on the counter to break down those pulps that are in there. Then we're going to go ahead and cut it. And squeeze what we can with our hands. And then a trick to do is to take a fork and move it around in there, and you get so much more because you're breaking down all those little pockets of juice. And see? There you go. And then, of course, we're going to need our peas. So this chicken salad is like a whole meal in itself because it has such a variety of items that are in it, and it's good for you. Now the way that I decide on what I want to do once we start getting into the spring and I start having harvest on what I'm growing, I like to decide on what's coming in for harvest. So with these, I'm actually having peas still, so I decided to go ahead and make this because this calls for peas. Now most of the time I only use these for the pods because I get a lot more for my money out of eating pea pods than I do for peas. If you look at this, you get just a little bit of return on peas for the amount of pods that you're doing. If you want to eat the pods, you really have to do them before those peas start forming, and then they're nice and tender and they're flavorful. Now for the sauce, we have a half a cup of sour cream, a half a cup of mayonnaise, and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Now that we have it all mixed up, we're going to put it in the fridge and let it sit for just a little while. And then, when we are ready to eat it, we're going to add in those yummy cashews. Because if you add them now, these are going to get soft. The key to adding the nuts is either sprinkling them on top after they've been chopped, or just mixing it into it right before you're ready to serve. All right, it's been in there for about a half hour, 45 minutes, so now it's time to taste it. And the reason why I put it in the fridge is so that all these flavors come together. This is one of my favorites. This was my mother-in-law's recipe. And certain foods, when you eat them, Just to remind you of people. Oh, and I forgot the cashews, so I added some in, and we'll take a taste with that. See, huge difference. When you add those right before you're ready, those cashews are nice and crunchy. You can also use almond slivers or whatever is your favorite nut that you want to add. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll catch you on the next video.